What is going on with this real estate market right now? Not just in a national standpoint, but in the Buffalo area as well. From these high price points, high mortgage rates, we don't know if buyers want to buy, sellers want to sell, low inventory. We're about to go over everything from a micro and a macro perspective in this video right now. Right now, across the entire country, we're seeing a massive decrease in inventory right now. Low inventory is causing these home prices to go crazy high because of competition. At the same time, you got interest rates going from low to high. And then this inflation right now is through the roof. Literally, a carton of eggs at Wegmans right now is $5. A month ago, right before Christmas, it was like $7 for a carton of eggs. We talk about 12 eggs. Even a pack of chicken, family pack of chicken, used to be what, $10, $11 max? We were paying $20. $20 for a family pack of chicken. Either way it goes, because this list can go on and on and on. We're in this video to talk about real estate and real estate onlys. What are my predictions and where it currently stands and the problems that we're starting to face? We're about to go over all that stuff right now. If you guys don't already know, my name is Devonte Davis, the local realtor in and around the Buffalo areas. So more than 30 homes last year, more than $6 million in sales last year. And we also helped so many great families, not only in Buffalo, but those relocating just like you watching this video to the Buffalo area. So moving them from their current city to the great city of Buffalo. So if you guys are really thinking about it, relocation is what we do. First-time home buyers and relocation is our niche, guys. We specialize in that. So if you guys are moving up, hit us up with a call, email, text. It does not matter. But let's get into the real estate market search and real estate market video as we're about to go over right now. We're going to take it from two perspectives. The first is going to be a micro level, which is the Buffalo, Erie County area. And then we're also going to take it from a macro perspective of how these kind of compare, basically. Let's just start with interest rates, right? Because everybody's talking about it. They jumped 400 basis points last year in 2022. It went from, no exaggeration, 3.27. I had a couple clients that were getting like 2.5%, 2.25% if they had like a 780. I mean, that's a really good credit score. But the average was about 3.27 last March, literally almost a year ago from today. Then we jumped up midsummer out of nowhere going into fall, which is like a 7.37%. And then at the end of the year, then we cooled down a little bit per se to about 6.5%. I mean, you're talking going up from 400 basis points back down 100, 125. I mean, it was just so wacky to say the least. I mean, it was absolutely ridiculous. And this happened way too fast. Like, people couldn't process this. You got to think, over the last few years, over the last probably like 10 years or so, we were spoiled with interest rates under 5% and 4.5%. I mean, it was and we'll get into a lot of the numbers later. It just happened too fast for people because the Fed was just trying to cover up this massive inflation. If you guys don't know, when inflation goes up, they raise interest rates to kind of bring back down inflation, and then vice versa. But it just went too fast. It went too fast. The last 10 years, we were averaging 4.5. And I think they tried to do this thinking that this market was balanced. The real estate market that we're in right now is not balanced. I mean, whatsoever. We have the market that we're in right now, even really the last 3 years per se, right before COVID, so 2019, it has been a seller's market, no matter which way, shape, and form you try to flip it into. It has been a seller's market, and this is strongly due into supply and demand. This is probably the number one topic of this video. If you guys don't remember anything else I say, supply and demand is the big issue here. This controls the market. Now let's talk both sides. We're gonna start with the buyers and then go into sellers, and then we're gonna get into some numbers. I can't get into numbers right away because if I just start throwing a bunch of numbers at you, it won't make no sense without context. So let me give you a lot of context first, and then we'll jump into some numbers again on a micro level. So what's happening in Buffalo right now, this second, and then also what's happening nationwide from all the research I've done, all the people I've talked to. We'll get into those exact numbers of what we're seeing. So it's very simple. The supply is very simple. No sellers are moving right now. They're just not. In the last 3 years, no exaggeration, they have stayed put. We thought in 2019 that the inventory was low. I'm going to pop up a graph just so you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. Let's look at this graph right here. You can see, first of all, if you look like since 2012, you see a steady decline in numbers. This is inventory. What is inventory? Homes up for sale that people can buy. Over these last 3 years, it's almost been a joke. No exaggeration. 2019, everybody's complaining, we have no homes, we have no homes. Look at 2019, look at 2022 and 2023. We have the lowest inventory in history since we've been starting to keep this number since 1971 or whenever it is that we started. So what exactly does this mean, Devonte? The traditional seller, let's take the traditional seller, correct? The traditional seller always sells their house and then goes to look for another one to buy, right? This could be due to a growing family, you're having more babies, you want to get your kids in a better school system, you're making a little bit more money, so you want the bigger and better American dream, whatever it may be. Here's the problem. As a seller right now, you can sell and you can sell fairly quickly, very quickly, and you can probably sell for a lot of money or more money than what you bought it for or probably even ever dreamed that you can get, especially right now when you still have multiple offers. When I'm talking about multiple, I'm talking about 10, 12 offers for a nice house. Depending on what area you're in, it won't even matter. Just literally last week, there was a fixer-upper on Berryman in Amherst, a great school system. Small with schools, and it was in Amherst, and high school was great too. I'm talking about grandma's house. Yellow countertops, old woody cabinets, old woody windows. It was listed for $200. We bid $225 with 50% down and didn't get it. It was 3 cash offers on this property. If you're looking to sell anywhere in Western New York right now, call us. It shouldn't even be a thought. I'm telling you, if you're sitting on a property you don't want anymore, or you've been thinking about selling, I would sell before anything crazy happens with this market. Right now, we know there's a seller's market. Will it flip tomorrow? No. But if you wait too long and it flips and your house is on the market, you waited too long to call Devonte. That's all I'm saying. But the problem is, again, yeah, you can sell real fast. You can sell for a lot of money. The problem becomes, where do you go after you sell? Let's say you have that 3,000 square foot house in Amherst that I was just talking about, or even Clarence for that instance, right? That's the one that everybody wants. That's the American dream. You got the American dream home. But if you're not moving, right? If you and your peers are not moving, or you and your neighbors are not moving, it's impossible for that growing family that we were just talking about to move up into your house. Or even if it's a second-time purchaser looking to purchase something bigger and better. Again, if you're not moving, where can those first-time home buyers go, right? The people who bought 3 to 5 years ago. If those first-time home buyers are not moving, it's nearly impossible for renters to find a place to live. They're looking in that $150,000 to $300,000 range. That's the first-time home buyers price range for the most part. If those first-time home buyers in that $1,200 to $1,400 Cape Cod are not moving, it's impossible for a renter right now unless you're ready to pay some money to move up. That's the chain in command. That's the supply and demand. It starts at the top and works its way down. And because of this, because of nobody's moving, you're getting houses going over 20, 30, 60, $100,000 over asking. And this is not an exaggeration. If you haven't heard this before, I'm telling you here now in the flesh, the houses are still going above asking price. And the reason why is because there's nothing to sell. Builders cannot build homes fast enough. I tell people this all the time, especially when it comes to new builds. Don't build my house fast. Take your time. I'm not trying to come back in a year because you want to skim over my roof when I just put 30 grand into it and now I got a leak in my front room. Plus, on top of that, don't forget COVID. COVID was basically a 2-year delay in supplies. And then let's talk about supplies. Laborers. We don't have enough tradesmen to build these houses because they were paying people to sit at home more money than they got on a job. You see how a lot of this stuff is perpetual and seeing how it's affected the real estate market? Now, I know what everybody's thinking. From the beginning of this video, well, if interest rates are so high, how is there still demand for buyers out there? Great question. After God let us off punishment for COVID, you can see a lot of the interest rates were about, again, 2.5 to about 3%, right? Interest rates were, super, super low. Again, I had clients who was getting these super low rates. At that point, at 2.5%, 3%, this leaves you plenty. I'm talking about much room, a lot of room, taking off your principal, taking off your interest to be able to put towards your principal for a home. This allowed everybody and their mother to be able to afford a home. Inflation was decent, and you had people, again, like we were just talking about earlier, getting paid to be at home or just working from home. The convenience of their own car. That 40-minute commute that you once had, which is draining on your gas bill, you don't have that problem anymore. You could put a little bit more money towards a house. So housing looked really good when those interest rates were low. On top of that, people were becoming more mobile than ever. That job that they said it could never be done from home, everybody's doing work from home now. So basically, employers just been lying to you for the last 30 years, telling you can't do something from home when you can all this time you can do it. What does that make you do? You can live anywhere in the world. Now, let's say you're in New York City, California, those big areas like Seattle. If you're living in New York City, your job is now 100% remote. Why would you stay in New York anymore? We could come to this big, beautiful city of Buffalo, New York, and pay probably half the cost in living expensive. Home ownership may not even have been a possibility for you. Your average home price in Manhattan is $700,000 to $1 million. California, you can get a 2-bedroom condo for less than $1.5 million. So now that you're mobile and you're making the same amount of money and your job is 100% remote and you don't have a problem with moving because you could take a plane anywhere, things have become easier for people to not only think about home ownership, it's possible for them. So now they can go into different markets, like someone coming from California to the South, they are bringing money with them. They can now compete on that same home, plus other investors, plus the people who already live in that southern state already. So you got so many people looking to buy a home that's affordable, who once home ownership was not a possibility for them, bringing more competition into certain markets like Houston, Atlanta, like parts of Buffalo from people who moving or migrating from the city. You have this mass migration that I don't think we even tapped into yet because a lot more people have not been privy to this knowledge as of yet. As we briefly discussed about the inventory earlier, because everybody wants to compare 2008 to now, right? If you look at 2008, that was the most inventory we have ever seen in history. Let's pull back up the graph. So at one point you have inventory out the yin yang. Of course, that's a buyer's market. 2008 was a buyer's market because everybody sold. And the reason why everybody sold, because from 2002 to about 2007, they were just giving away loans willy-nilly. Remember that big old credit inflation that everybody had? They were giving away credit cards along with those ARM loans, those adjustable rate loans that everybody could qualify. You don't have that right now in 2022. They prevented that from from ever happening again by making things a lot more strict for buyers. At the same time, not only are buyers more restricted or they need to be more pre-qualified than they were before, we don't have any inventory to sell them. So this is the really big difference, that you can't compare 2008 till now. I mean, that's a totally different thing. Even let's take Buffalo right now, 2023. At the beginning of this year, correct? The beginning of this year, we only have 1,372 homes up for sale in the entire Buffalo and Niagara region. That's it. 1,400 homes that covers Erie County and Niagara County. That's on a micro level. Let's think about this. Let's dive a little deeper. In the entire Erie County, there's 1 million people, right? And this inside the city of Buffalo alone, there's 250,000 people. So 250,000 people just in Erie County, right? 1 million people, 250,000 people just in the city of Buffalo, 1 million people in Erie County. There's 1,400 homes up for sale in between Erie County and Niagara County that we're not even counting. Let's look at this on a macro level. Let's talk about the entire United States, right? In the entire United States, you have, at the beginning of this year, under 1 million homes. Under 1 million homes across the entire country. There's 330 million Americans. Let's dive even deeper. Let's go back to Buffalo, because I have to hammer this home about this inventory. In the entire Erie County area, in between that first-time home buyers price range, because a lot of people are first-time home buyers, it makes up 32% of the entire buying population. In between $150,000 and $300,000, there's 154 homes up for sale right now, February 5th, 2023. You get my point? We are literally, if no more homes go up for sale right now, we're about a month and a week out from not having any more homes to sell. If nobody else puts their homes up for sale right now, today, we're about a month out from anything. I mean, gone, zero, zilch, crazy, right? Crazy. Now that we got that big spiel off our chests, let's look into a lot of these, how Buffalo compares to the national average and what the home prices are in Buffalo as we're looking right now, right? So let's look at the U.S., right? Over these last 3 years, I mean, it's just been insane. It's just been crazy. I know that was a lot. That's a lot of information right there. It was a strong rant, but it was needed. Anyways, over the last 3 years, I mean, everybody has seen in their neighborhood, unless you've been under a rock, appreciation through the yin yang. When I first started this channel, right, back in 2019-ish, early 2020 during COVID, the median price point inside of Buffalo, no exaggeration, was $158,000. Go ahead and pop up that right there. $158,000 was the median price point. The average price point was about $186,000. At the end of 2022, heading into 2023, which we are right now, the median price point is $225,000. The average price point is $260,000, $260,000 to about $261,000. That's a $67,000 to $67,000 to about $75,000 in appreciation over the last 3 years. 3 years. 3 years. You jumped up basically 75 grand. And if your house was nicer, you probably got a little bit more. Crazy. And those are the totals for the entire Buffalo and Niagara region. Remember, those are averages though. Remember, they are averages. So if you're in some other parts, Amherst, Clarence, yeah, home prices are way up there. But on average, you're telling me in the areas that we live, you got an extra $67,000 to $75,000 extra in appreciation. That's crazy. And I'll even give you some examples of 3 popular suburbs, and I'll give you examples of 3 popular zip codes inside the Buffalo area. So right now, Amherst is sitting on, and these are all averages here, Amherst is sitting around 331. on average that you're looking to pay in Amherst. Cheektowaga is sitting about 200,000, give or take. Orchard Park is sitting around 430,000. You guys know, very wealthy area, very affluent. Inside the city. Now these are zip codes all inside the city, or neighborhoods all inside the city. If you're looking in the zip code 14215, which covers, Kensington, Bailey, parts of Grider, and LaSalle, you're looking at an average of about 147. If you're looking in the zip code 14216, which is kind of like that North Park, North Buffalo area, you're looking around 326. North Buffalo is a little bit more expensive area. That feels like a suburb inside the city type thing. If you're looking at Elmwood Village, everybody wants to live in Elmwood right now. 14222, you're looking at about $548,000. Let's look into the predictions of the future, and really the two questions that we talked about earlier that I don't think a lot of people are starting to ask, but these are the questions that I think of in my mind right now, especially with dealing with a lot of clients and people moving in and around this, not only the country, but the city as well. Let's take this from two ends of the scale, right? There's 1-bedroom condos, right, in California that's, let's call it a cool million for a 1-bedroom condo. The average person can't afford that. The average person cannot afford a $8,000 bill every single month just for housing, not including car payments, insurance, gas, grocery. Like you just can't. The average person is not affording that, right? When do you start to see a mass migration out of those big cities? You already start seeing, look at the plants that's in a technology company that's leaving California. Look at the amount of people that's leaving New York City, right? And I get it's the glam, it's the glitz, the glamour, the lifestyle. New York City is the Mecca. California is this big movie set thing. But after a while, right? Let's peel back the layers. When it comes to living, your lifestyle, your comfortability, what you love to do, where you love to walk, what you like to see. If you cannot live comfortably, who cares about the glitz and the glamour after a while? Like, you know what I'm saying? Do I want a house, or do I just want to be with the stars? I'm trying to get a crib, build some wealth for my family. When do you start to see that migration? Or if you look at just the affordability index, even if you say in Buffalo right now, 260 is our average, which is nothing compared to those big states, or those big cities, right? We are down 36% in the affordability index. What is the affordability index? Basically, what the average person is making, can the average person at the average salary afford the average home? We're down in Buffalo 36%. I can only imagine what the nation is down when we are $100,000 less, and compared to the national average, to a Buffalo's average price point in homes. What is the national average, or what is the national index at, or what is the national person? How do they fit into this equation when it comes to buying a home? It really comes to the point of, if we have a reset, how hard is this reset? When is this reset going to be? And how will it affect the everyday person? This is huge. When I seen the 36% drop, I'm talking about just from 2020 to 2022, 2023, that's a massive decrease in housing affordability, guys. I cannot stress that enough. Right? And then the second question to this is, when are we going to see inventory go up? When are sellers going to start moving? And I get it. It's hard because it's like, if you sell, where do you go? Are you going to wait 7-8 months to build a home when builders are behind? Right? And at this point, with the interest rate high, if you're sitting on basically nothing, why would you take on this 6-7% interest rate? Or if you bought 2, 3, 4 years ago and you're sitting at 3%, let's call it a cool 4%, why would I go take on a 6%? So it's a bunch of questions right now that a lot of people, man, it's tricky. It's a tricky. We are in a different time right now. Now, I know this is a very long video. I hope I made some valid points to you guys. If you guys don't already know, my name is Devonte Davis, the local realtor in and around the Buffalo area. If you guys are moving to Buffalo, or interested in Buffalo. If you're coming from California, trust me, you can get 3 houses. But let me know. Hit me up with a call, email, text. It does not matter. I would love to be of service. We help people move to the Buffalo area all the time, every single week. So this is what we do for sure. So if you guys need anything, make sure you guys hit me up with a call, email, text. I will surely respond. I look forward to seeing you guys when you guys do come up here. And as always, I will see you guys inside the next one.